Let's read this technical article on the adjustment of profit. So this article actually goes through with you questions in terms of when the examiner gives you a trading profit or any profit, and they tell you that maybe a junior accountant has prepared this and they don't know all of the rules and regulations, and therefore there's some mistakes in it. You need to correct the mistakes and give them the proper tax adjusted trading profit. Well, in this article, they're really highlighting the way you should, or the method with which you should attempt the question. So I've highlighted the very important parts of the article that you really need to be aware of. They've told us that previously sometimes candidates rewrite an entire statement of profit and then they take a lot of time with their answers. That's not necessary. What you need to do is do exactly what the examiner says. The examiner will tell you, start with the profit before taxation figure, make your adjustments, and for items that you do not need to adjust, include a zero. So very important, do not rewrite the whole thing. Take the figure that the examiner has told you to start with and make the adjustments in the way that the examiner wants. Zero for an item that's okay, and adjust it for an item where a mistake has been made. The article here goes on to tell us, they give us a little example over here. In terms of, in the 2009 exam, this was the statement of profit or loss that was given, and these were the items that were actually given. So we have gifts to customers displaying the company's name, costing $1,200 totally and £60 each. You know that if you're gifting a customer, it cannot be above £50, so this cannot be an allowable expense. For adding this amount back, you were given half a mark. So you need to do that individual addition for you to get the half a mark. Secondly, gifts to customers, hampers of food costing £25 each. They tried to catch you here. This is below the £50, but gifting food to a customer is not allowed. So for adding this amount back, again half a mark. Now over here, a donation to charity where the company received free advertising in the magazine, this is actually an allowable expense. You're allowed to deduct this. But what did you need to do in your statement? You needed to include a zero to show the examiner that you actually knew that this was allowable. And for this zero, you are given half a mark. So you see how you have to look at all of these areas individually. Start with the figure that they've told you, profit before tax, that's what they usually tell you, and then do the individual adjustments. Okay? Also, what candidates would do in certain situations is that, so for the adjustments that we had to do, the additions that we had to do, they added back properly. But for the things that we did not need to add back, they didn't put the zero, they actually put an explanatory note. That'll take a lot of time, and it takes a lot of time for the examiner to read also. So it's better, you're not given as many marks for these explanatory notes. So it's better that you just put in the heading over there, put the zero, and the examiner knows exactly what you're talking about. So that's what this area deals with. It says that the typical approach would have been to include the 2300. This totals to 2300, and in the adjusted profit computation, and then to support this with a bunch of explanatory notes. But that'll make your exam paper look very confusing, and it's just much harder for the examiner to read, and you're not going to get as many marks. So it's better to do it in the way that they've exactly told you. Now finally, so this is how they wanted it. Add this back, put the zero here. This is how they wanted it, okay? And you started with the profit before tax figure, and you're making your adjustments. The final thing that I want to show you over here is that when items of income are not trading income, but they've actually been included in your income for trading, you need to deduct them. You need to remove this because this needs to be included under a separate heading. For example, property needs to be included under property income, interest under interest, dividends under dividends, and this is profit on disposal of shares, so capital gain. However, it was included all by that junior accountant into your trading profit. So what do we need to do? We need to deduct these amounts that were included incorrectly. Now what you can do is you can actually have a separate column for here, or you can actually just include the deductions over here and create one column. And that's basically what this article deals with. It tells you how exactly they want you to include the adjustments. It tells you what figure they want you to start with. It tells you that they do not want any explanatory notes. And they actually show you if you're including other types of income where that's been included, you need to realize that those are not part of the tax adjusted trading profit and deduct them. The two ways you can deduct is just by deducting from here in the same column or creating a separate column.